And we are live. Hello, everybody. It's Will Middleton and Kurt Von Ahnen from LifterLMS. We'll be here for the next hour or so answering your questions about LifterLMS. And we'll also be answering questions that came into us from YouTube and Facebook in the last few days since our last live stream. And if there's not enough comments coming in, we'll be seeing some motivational dancing from the LifterLMS team. And yeah, let's kick it off. Anyone calling in, let us know where you're calling in from. I'm in close to Atlanta, Georgia. I'm actually in Smyrna, Georgia, but pretty close to Atlanta. Calling in today. How about you, Kurt? Where are you calling in from?
Today we're calling in from Hutchinson, Kansas.
Awesome. Well, yeah,
dude, I gotta tell you, I'm loving Kansas so far.
Oh yeah, I've seen your posts on Twitter and Facebook, and like you went to the post office or the DMV or somewhere, and you're like, even the people at the DMV are nice here.
Everybody's nice everywhere, dude. Everywhere. Everyone's pleasant. Everyone's nice. Dude, you ride a bicycle here, and they move all the way out of your lane. I don't have to keep looking over my shoulder, wonder if someone's going to kill me or not. It's just been good. It's just been good.
Awesome. We have Luke calling in from Keller, Texas. Suburb of Fort Worth.
Fort Worth.
Well, awesome. Let me pull up a couple comments from our YouTube channel and from the Facebook page. And anyone watching us live, feel free to let us know any questions you have about LifterLMS. Anywhere you see us, we'll be happy to dive in, share screens, and talk through any questions that people on the call have. I found one from YouTube that we could dive into first. Very helpful video. That was on the video I did about LifterLMS WooCommerce setup. I have a question. Which add-on do you use to generate the coupon? So in the LifterLMS WooCommerce scenario, you would be using the WooCommerce coupon system. So WooCommerce has a marketing section on the sidebar, and not everyone has coupon usage enabled, so that might be worth highlighting here on the screen. Log into my demo site and show the checkbox where you can enable that. Hopefully I have one.
It's also not super intuitive that there's a separate marketing menu in WooCommerce. A lot of people keep looking in the WooCommerce main menu and it's not there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It used to be here under WooCommerce coupons, but now it's under marketing coupons. And so this, it's funny, the LifterLMS private areas add-on ends up in the middle of the WooCommerce stuff and groups as well. But yeah, marketing coupons is where you'll find that for WooCommerce, and you'll only have that menu option available if you have coupon usage enabled in your WooCommerce settings. I believe that's here. I don't know. Maybe it's general. I'll have to dig around to see if I can find that. Yep, there it is. General settings, enable use of coupons. You got to make sure that box is checked. If it's not checked, the coupons won't be accessible there. So important to make sure that box is checked in the WooCommerce settings. But then when you're using LifterLMS alongside WooCommerce, all of the payments will be going through WooCommerce. So the whole e-commerce and stuff is managed there. And we recommend when you're using WooCommerce to use the LifterLMS WooCommerce integration to add the LifterLMS items to the WooCommerce My Account page. So instead of using the default LifterLMS student dashboard like you see here, you could use the WooCommerce My Account page. I don't know if I have that configured on my website. I do. The WooCommerce My Account page. It makes it a little bit more easy for customers to navigate around. It makes it a little bit of a clearer setup. Instead of having My Account and Dashboard, it has two separate pages. You go to My Account to manage orders and My Dashboard to access courses. Lifter adds the courses option to the WooCommerce area, so it can all be managed under one page to make it easier for students and customers. We had a question from Luke in the chat. Can the social learning add-on be used to have a social group independent of a course? We want to create a familiar space for private social media site hosted within our environment. It can be created with like a membership. So my recommendation there would probably be to use a membership with social learning. The social learning add-on does need to be associated though with a course or a membership. So if we go to community timelines, this timeline feature does need to be associated with a course. I thought it could do memberships as well. Let me go ahead and test that out. So if we go to memberships, add new, and we'll dive into some other options for social as well. Social membership. Make sure I'm enrolled in this. So I should have stay on my membership. So Will's social membership has now a timeline associated with it. So you could use social learning alongside a membership that's independent of your courses in order to create a space that's just for users of the social group, but it would have to be associated with some sort of enrollment. Then there are options like BB Press and Buddy Press and even Buddy Boss that allow you to create social setups inside of WordPress where people can send each other friend requests, direct messages, and all kinds of other different features that these social options have to offer. And sometimes people even use like Circle or a Facebook group or something outside of WordPress to manage their social setup. But with LifterLMS, you can definitely do it with the membership alongside social learning. But then it would be an independent membership for access to that. I guess, Kurt, have you seen some good examples of social community setups, and like what do you think is the best things to consider when figuring out how you're going to put together your community tech stack?
Dude, this is such a this question just in general to me comes with lots of speed bumps and trepidations. So I have had projects where I've enacted social learning thinking that it was going to be like the mortar that kept the bricks together. You know what I mean? And then it ended up being from a course developer standpoint, from a admin developer standpoint, it ended up being more of a distraction than a successful tool. And I'm not trying to, it's our tool, right? So like, I'm not trying to downplay our tool, but you have to have the use case that supports it. And so I've seen some that actually do really well with a Facebook group. I've seen some that do well with some of these other Frankenstein solutions. And that's where I kind of get a little perturbed, like speed bumps and trepidations, is I'm in a group now, a group of professionals, and they have LifterLMS in the back of their website that they want to launch for like onboarding new members to their group, which makes total sense. But then like everybody's got their own opinion on social and e-commerce and all those things and automation that come with what a lot of people try to do. And now the projects, even though I'm a LifterLMS person, the thing is turning into a Frankenstein of a project. So they're using Go High Level as a CRM, which is external of the website. And then they're trying all these automations with like Circle, because Circle's another social tool. And they're just putting a bunch of things together that make it very difficult. So I like the idea of everything being in one place. Did I lock up or did you lock up?
I think I might have locked up.
Okay, so because I was talking the whole time and you were still, so then I was like, they might not even hear me. But part of my answer there was so this is Kurt's wisdom. This is Kurt's wisdom. It's not a LifterLMS statement. This is a Kurt statement. I prefer things to be all in one place. I don't like these Frankenstein tying things together with all these tools externally. So I don't like when the CRM is off over here and Circle's over here, or Mighty Networks is somewhere, or Go High Level's doing something, or there's some automation that's happening in the background on some other weird SaaS platform. I'm not into that. I like when I can put all the tools in one URL and run things from one location, and then teach admins how to use those tools all in one cohesive space instead of signing in all these other platforms. So in that regard, I'm a big fan of social learning. But again, I think the use case is important. There has to be community, a tribe, an audience that's going to effectively use it, and so that it doesn't become an obstacle where you're trying to promote it all the time. It should be natural usage. It shouldn't have to be promoted or pushed on your end.
Yeah, that's some great high-level tips around how to use community in an online course site, for sure. Yeah, Luke, feel free to drop in the comments if that was helpful, or if you have any other follow-up questions on that, we'd be happy to dive in a bit more. We did have another question on our YouTube channel. I've realized the export button was down there. Just knowing that is a huge help. Thanks a lot. So this is a comment on our Feature Friday video from last week. And the export button, I think Marcus in the comments is referring to, is LifterLMS reporting. There's an export option available on a lot of these pages down here in the bottom left corner. So if you wanted to export your entire students list from your website, you could do that here in the LifterLMS reporting. It's also going to have data related to their registration date, the date they were last seen on the website, and some LifterLMS statistics regarding progress. But you can also drill down and do a more specific report if you want to export students from like the business budgeting course that I have on my website. Specifically, I could go to students of that course and then export only the students enrolled in that course. It exports into a CSV spreadsheet file, which is super useful for parsing the data. If you're trying to get more of an advanced report, the best way to do that is to download the export file of the report and then use either numbers on Mac or Excel on a Windows or Google Sheets in order to parse that data and get a detailed report. I have a lot of clients who do that, where they'll download a report for the month of students who've been taking courses on their website for affiliates who've paid them to create the course, and then they'll just send the data over as like a monthly report on their end. And
what people don't realize from an agency perspective, or if you do this for other folks, that becomes a value add service, right? So if you say, oh yeah, here's your, LMS manager role that you give them in the back of the site, you're still the admin, and they go, oh, I wish there was more specific reporting. You could A, be a super nice guy and show them how to do it, or B, you could do it on a monthly basis, for a $30 add-on, $50 add-on, $150 add-on. I mean, you figure it out, what the market will bear. But there's a lot of services that you can offer in the background of running one of these websites that creates ongoing, recurring revenue, provided you keep up to date on the work.
Absolutely. And Lifter has a lot of use cases and a lot of different ways you could contort the tool and use the product in different ways. Like we just explored the social learning add-on. You could create a membership to create a social community. Like if you imagine LifterLMS could be used just for a social community. If you were to create a membership on your website, sign up for the membership, get access to the community, there's no need for courses, quizzes, or anything like that. Just a membership lockdown community could be done with LifterLMS and the social learning add-on. It's a lot about use case. Like Kurt, you mentioned a lot is use case. And I think taking a look at use case on a higher level makes it a lot easier to figure out how we can accomplish what we're looking for with the tools. Let me scroll around the Facebook group a little bit too and see if I can find some good questions.
Yeah, you talked about it on one of the lives recently, but the one that, kind of perked back up to the top for me was where David had said it didn't seem to be any way to adjust the course syllabus widget. He wanted to make it collapsible. And I know that you have some really good content on that kind of stuff, right? Like, what page builder are you in? Are you in full site editing site? Are you in Gutenberg? Are you in something else? But all of those tools are available. You just kind of have to hunt and figure out which one fits your application. Did you already share that where it said a social community sounds like what we hope to create?
I thought. Yeah, social community. Yeah, creating a social community, I think, comes down to a lot more than just the tech behind it, like Kurt was talking about. So as long as you have the community that already is sort of, I don't want to say like it's sort of a group of people who are in a dysfunctional state with how they're communicating, and this opportunity to create an interface for them to communicate as a means of reducing friction is brilliant. So if you already have like a group of people who, might be asking questions to you directly via email or something like that, and you're opening up this community as a means for them to ask the questions more publicly, that might be like a fantastic option for a community that might see some adoption. Or when the community members value from each other's contributions, like each other contributing questions or even each other contributing answers. That's, I think, where the strongest communities are built out of. Like even like WordPress as a content management system is so strong because of its community features or the community aspect of like plugin developers who are building products for it, like LifterLMS and WooCommerce and other LMS systems and products in the WordPress. It's all about that community, and I feel like that community is purely speculation. That community is driven from wanting to do more with less experience, like build more interesting applications on the web with less experience about coding and how the web works in an underlying way, bringing more functionality to end users for creating those websites, I think is a huge driver behind the WordPress community, because then there's like products like Pop-Up Maker, like we have an LMS, we have a store, we have forms and everything, but how do we add pop-ups, or how do we create a ClickFunnels style setup in WordPress? And then there's things like cart flows and launch flows that are like newer products that come out. I think they're like 5 years old, but still 5 years old is relatively new in the big picture. And ClickFunnels for WordPress was a huge deal. And then there's new themes that are coming out and all kinds of stuff. Really, that community, I think, is what makes it really strong. But there's some kind of underlying demand that's pulling it. So assuming you have that underlying demand, or your client has that underlying demand, that's really where the communities will shine, I think. We had a question come in. Can I customize the look and feel of my course pages and the student dashboard using LifterLMS?
No.
All right. Thanks everyone for joining us on the call. Yeah. So
that's a wrap.
That's a wrap for today. So customizing look and feel of course pages, that comes down to the theme a lot of the time. I think the theme that you're working with as to what you can customize and what you can't customize. And LifterLMS has shortcodes for some of the pages. Like we may have seen like a course catalog shortcode or a my account shortcode that generates, I can also pull up on screen while I'm talking.
Or God forbid a lesson navigation shortcode you want to find.
Oh yeah. Yeah, but like, so this page here, the student dashboard page, what we're taking a look at, we have basically just this shortcode that's generating all of that content. So customizing this page would come down heavily to the theme that you're using. On my site, I'm using LifterLMS SkyPilot, so it styles it up just like we see on screen out of the box. I could use CSS to customize it a bit more, but if you are using something like Elementor alongside LifterLMS, you could customize it even more. I have some videos on YouTube about how to create a custom dashboard using Elementor and LifterLMS. So there are components you can customize, and customizability, I think, is a vague term. There's some depth to that question about what exactly do you want to customize. Some people want to customize the content of this little panel right here, where we have an image, we have the progress, the categories, the name of the course, the author. Sometimes we want to customize this template, and sometimes they want to customize the look and feel of this dashboard page in a little bit of a different way. And that's definitely possible by doing things like background effects. You can add some interesting branding elements as far as customization, like colors and background images and things like that, pretty easily. But then if you wanted to customize the content within the shortcode, it becomes a little more complex. But there are methods to remove the tabs on the dashboard, for example. If we're asking the question, we want to customize the dashboard by removing some of these items we're not going to be using, like achievements and certificates. If your course site does not include those things, we can go to LifterLMS settings and accounts and just remove those simply by removing the achievements and certificates text right there. And then that will remove them from the sidebar here, just to make the dashboard a little simpler. And so that's a pretty simple customization, but then there are some more in-depth ones. I guess, Kurt, do you have any examples or experiences with customizing the dashboard page or course page? I know you've been working on a client site recently where you've been incorporating kind of a simple brand design using a page builder with a LifterLMS install.
Yeah, but I didn't want to make this a bashing Divi session. I just wanted to make this a fun thing. Yeah, for some reason, every time I work on Divi, I run into a detour, a stumbling block, and then someone like Will comes along and saves the day for me. But to your point, Will, and I think you said this really well, define what customization is, right? Because so many people are like, oh, I want to customize my dashboard. And I instantly, have a little bit of a, what do they call it when the blood vessel in your brain goes and you die. Oh, aneurysm. That's
Oh,
right.
yeah.
I have a little aneurysm that happens. And then I find out, oh, they just want to change the color of the button from blue to orange or something. And I'm like, oh, well, why didn't you say so? But remember, folks, when Will and I are talking on this call, sometimes we say something that sounds involved or sounds confusing or sounds like more than you want to bite off and chew, especially for the audience that this call is intended for. But you're not alone, right? So there's the experts page that you can hire LifterLMS experts to help you with specifics like this. And then they also have that arrangement with Codable, which has hundreds of developers on call for you. You basically submit a task, they bid for it, and then you hire it out. And it's not as expensive as you think it would be. So if there's something where you're going, man, I really want to change this, but I don't have a lick on how to even get started, reach out to the experts list, reach out to Codable and get a quote. You might be surprised at how affordable it really is, as Will just showed you how easy it is for him to manipulate these design tools around.
Right. And what I'm doing with the dashboard page right now, I'm just fiddling around, seeing what I can do with the block editor. But
Sweet.
I mean, that's kind of radical, but it's just installing like a background gradient to add some branding elements would be a relatively simple thing to do. This one looks a little bit hard on the eyes, but you see kind of what I'm getting at, where I can install like a gradient, or even something like a background image could be done with a simple WordPress Gutenberg plugin. If I was able to get a
you
plugin.
Could take that same thing though that you just did and drive the opacity down to 10%, and it'd be a lot easier on the eyes.
Yeah. Let me go back.
So there's all kinds of options.
For sure. And I think the challenge is like, how much do you want to get your hands dirty with the project? How much do you want to engage with it and figure out what you can do? I know a lot of Lifter site owners will get in there and build their own site with Divi, customize the backend, and really enjoy the process of figuring out how it works, like what I'm doing right now, just playing around with the tools and seeing what kind of branding elements I can incorporate. But then there's other LifterLMS site owners who want to be hands-off with the project and want to basically describe to the developer and content entry person what they want, and then just kind of have it come together. They have the content, they just don't want to do anything with the text. So there's a few different levels of engagement with a WordPress website that it's important to kind of figure out where we're at with that. Awesome. Let me see if I can find another question. This is a good question. So how does LifterLMS handle student enrollment, progress tracking, and certification issuance?
It handles it wonderfully.
Yeah, absolutely. It does handle it wonderfully. That's kind of three questions baked into one. Student enrollment. So LifterLMS has the access plan system for student enrollment. This is something that's new to WordPress, that's introduced with like an LMS system. And that is the idea that people will sign up with their email and password. Like, you could create a basic WordPress website that's like a blog, or even create a shop with something like WooCommerce, where people can buy, send you their address in their purchase form, and then you can mail them a physical product. But LifterLMS adds an extra layer to that, which is the password component of, when users sign up to your website, they create a username and password that they can use to log in later, and then the website can use to track their progress of the courses. So each course and membership has an access plan associated with it. So if I edit on any of my courses or memberships, I'll have an option to create some access plans. And an access plan, if I go down here, allows me to say, in this case, I have the WooCommerce extension installed. Let me disable that. That adds a little bit of complexity. Let's disable the WooCommerce. Where is it? There it is. Let's go with the Lifter access plan system. It's a little bit easier to explain without WooCommerce active. Boom. So we can set in the LifterLMS access plan system a name for our option to sign up. We can describe the price. So if it's going to be like $100 one-time payment, I could do that. But I could also do like a $10 every month payment if I wanted to. So if I was creating a subscription membership, access to a community, access to multiple courses, I could do that. So the access plan system is the number one thing to look into, and access plans determine how people get enrolled into courses or memberships with Lifter. And there are some other ways to enroll people in a course or membership, like an admin could manually enroll a user. Like since I'm an admin on this website, I could just enroll a student here at the bottom. But usually students will get access via the access point system if they're buying for themselves. But then there's also the LifterLMS Groups add-on, which is designed to allow you to make your site for like companies or organizations where you could sell access to a school or a company that might have 100 students that they want to enroll, and you would set as the website admin that the group leader can enroll 100 students into that group, for example. So there's a lot of different ways to use LifterLMS and a lot of different ways to enroll, but out of the box, the basic setup is going to be to use the access point system for enrolling. And once the students are enrolled in the courses, you'll be able to track their progress in the LifterLMS reporting section under LifterLMS reporting here in the back end. We showed this a little bit earlier, but this is where all that data is stored, where we can see specific students and which courses they're enrolled in, some general data, and how they're doing as far as progress and grades in each of those courses. So we can export that data. The students can see that data on their account page, and we can do some different things with it. But the WordPress website does track all of that. It's stored within the WordPress database, so it's all there to be custom developed or manipulated however you wanted to with that data. So that's how you enroll in the course. That's how progress is tracked. And then certification is another question with LifterLMS. Under LifterLMS engagements here, we have the certificate system where you can use the WordPress block editor to build out a certificate, upload your own background image, and basically create a nice looking template that you can then award to students when they complete a course, when they pass a quiz, or whatever the condition is. When you want to award this certificate, you can set up like a triggering event. Once I'm happy with how my certificate looks, I would publish it, and then I would go to engagements, add engagement, and then set up I would say when a student completes the course, this course, we're going to award a certificate, and then I would select which certificate is awarded. So that's how you would handle kind of the full scope of enrollment, progress tracking, and certification. We have Marcus Carter in chat. Hi, Marcus. Can you explain what memberships are for? Absolutely.
It's to get you in the club.
Absolutely. So LifterLMS is the course component here, and courses are generally, the idea around a course is that there's some kind of progress, like you complete a course. You don't necessarily complete a membership. And so courses incorporate quizzes and lessons and sort of a structure like a syllabus. A membership is similar in that there's restricted access to some kind of content, but it's not necessarily a timeline with a syllabus and quizzes and things like that. It's basically just a members only area. And you could use a membership to enroll people in multiple courses. So if you wanted to create a course bundle or like a course site full access, if you were to sell courses individually for like $100 a course, maybe you would want to offer a membership for $1,000. You get access to all of the courses in the website. That might be one use case for a membership. Another use case for a membership would be if you wanted to restrict pages or blog posts to a membership. Instead of courses, we could just have a general content library built out using WordPress pages. And we could say over here on the right, membership access, restrict this page. The chat bot's getting in my way. But we can say visitors must belong to a membership to access this page. So if your content doesn't conform to a traditional course structure and it's more of a content library, that might be a use case for a membership, where you enroll in the membership and you get access to the content library, but it's not necessarily structured in the form of courses. So those are some high-level uses of memberships that I've done in LifterLMS that aren't course-based. But how about you, Kurt? What's your experience with memberships outside of courses?
When I first got started with LifterLMS, the main reason I used memberships was to group like courses together. And I use that strategy even today on the Mañana No Mas site. On the Mañana No Mas site, I've got some courses for personal development, some are for the WordPress community, and there's different areas that I develop, right? So I put the courses into the appropriate category. And what's cool is some of the memberships actually carry, they're listed further down in the page because I was trying to make it like an afterthought. And then what I like about it is I can use the memberships where it says see all memberships on the bar. You're like, I totally. So anyway, I can use the same course in multiple memberships. So that's one way to keep things rocking and rolling. The other thing that I've started to really begin to explore with is the idea, like you had just pointed out, of taking certain blog content or certain pages and restricting it based on membership. And so I started to think about that, and then think about what we've done before when you get into like page builders and how you can isolate different parts of a single page. So I could literally, and I know it's super annoying, right? Like it's really annoying. Like if someone says, hey, read this article, and then you click on it and you read the headline in the first paragraph and it says, to keep reading, subscribe to blah, 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 right? But that's exactly what you can set up in your site. You could literally set up that says, here's the headline, here's the first paragraph, and then the rest of the page is hidden. You know, you could have a link that says see more or whatever, but then that just goes to, hey, you need to join up for this free membership. And what that does is maybe it doesn't help your residual income in that moment, but it gets you the marketing information you need for your CRM to be able to stay in touch with that individual. And I might be spitting out too many things at once the way I say that, but you know, the most valuable thing that your online business has is its community or its list. And so if you can work to grow your email list, well, then you're not dependent upon social media algorithms and crud like that. If everything goes to Hades in a handbasket, you still got your mail list.
Absolutely. That's a good way to use memberships that I hadn't thought about before, was creating like members only, like a free membership, but it allows you access to members only content. Like if we were to say you have to be enrolled in the membership, maybe the one I just created, the Academy membership. So you have to be enrolled in the Academy membership in order to access the content here in the restricted section. In LifterLMS out of the box, you can do that pretty nicely. So you'd have like Kurt mentioned, your let's see, I should see the first paragraph. So I see the picture, I see the first paragraph, and I see the author information, but then we would also probably want to add some text about how users could sign up for the membership. So we could say how you can sign up.
Yeah, and then have like how you can sign up would only be shown to non-members.
Yeah, so we would say non-enrolled users or visitors.
So you can have different messaging on the same page go to different groups of people, that's the power of memberships. That's because you're able to control what's shown to different individuals based on their login status.
Yeah, let me
see, Marcus, we're dropping all kinds of value on this answer. And Akash even gave you a rocket, bro.
Share my screen here. Stop screen. Present.
Thais Casado just basically asked the question that we're in the middle of answering there, right? So is it feasible to offer a bundle option, right? So let me get my mouse over there and click on that and share that with the rest of the folks. Is it feasible to offer a bundle option for memberships? For example, can users choose 3 courses from the course list and pay a combined price for them? I hear this question a lot. And what you're asking for is, can clients randomly pick 3 out of 10 courses as part of their bundle? Or can customers do, gosh, help me out here, Will. I don't know of how to do this unless you figured out some way in like WooCommerce to sell 3 access and gave 3 voucher tickets for 3 redemptions or something like that.
Yeah, I've heard that question a lot. There's not an easy out-of-the-box solution to sell like a membership that includes access to 10 courses, but the student is allowed to select any of those 10 courses of your library that they want. It's like a credit system, almost like kind of like what Audible does, where you pay a monthly subscription and you get 1 credit per month and you can use that credit however you want. That setup's a little bit complicated in LifterLMS out of the box right now. I've built that setup before with integrations with other tools like GamiPress. So if you had a monthly membership, with LifterLMS or WooCommerce, whatever you want to do it in, but just LifterLMS out of the box. A monthly membership for $10 a month is pretty easy to set up. Then you can integrate with GamiPress to say each month give the user 1 credit, and then I think GamiPress has an option with WooCommerce where instead of paying with cash, users can pay with like a credit. So that's where they could enroll in a course with a credit. So Lifter, WooCommerce, and GamiPress create an interesting setup where you can do that. Let me share my screen and see if I could find some more valuable information about that, because it's a really cool setup.
That's a really good looking website right there.
Oh yeah, that's the membership catalog.
Dude, did I tell you how embarrassed I was at the Best Buy?
Oh no, at the Best Buy in Kansas.
No, it was Best Buy in California before we moved. Oh, was it? Now I can't remember. It might have been on the road, but Hayden wanted to look at stuff in Best Buy, and so he's doing the Hayden thing, and I'm like, I'm gonna go over and check out these Macs because I'm a PC, not a Mac person. And so I go over to this giant Mac computer and I put in the Mañana No Mas website, and I was shocked because it looked really good. And I was like, that's the best I've ever seen that website look. It looks really good. And I was kind of embarrassed, but it's like the screen resolution was awesome.
Nice. Oh, so like you pulled up your website on the Best Buy computer while you were in the store?
Yeah. And it was, like I said, it was embarrassing because like when it popped up, I was like, whose website is this? Oh, that's mine. Oh, dang, that looks good. No wonder people tell me my website looks good, because I'm usually looking at it on my PC on a small screen with not the best resolution.
Right. Yeah. It's funny how the hardware that you're using changes the software a lot, like what the software looks like. Oh, my link was broken. Let me put the link in chat again. I pasted a link at the end of my response, and it cut off. So there's the full link in the YouTube chat. Yeah, so my recommendation for that kind of setup regarding credits or something like that, you could even do it with GamiPress, where you would say, when the user purchases the membership, award them 10 points. And then you have the gateway active to say you can use a point to buy a course. And so there's multiple ways you could set that up, but that's sort of abstracting cash away from your course site. Instead of saying that this course, if it's $100 for the membership and you get access to 10 courses, instead of saying that each course is $10, you're now saying that each course is 1 credit. It's a smart setup. It's definitely a good feature request to have some sort of abstraction of money. Like you see that in gaming institutions like Chuck E. Cheese and Dave & Buster's, is you don't put the cash in the machines directly. You go to the counter, get a card or coins or whatever that are worth 25 cents each or whatever, and then you use those instead because it feels less like money.
The Bitcoin of e-learning.
The Bitcoin of e-learning. Yeah, the value of those coins doesn't usually change too much, but yeah, that's a good way to do it, is the GamiPress setup. And I've used GamiPress only a few times, but it is a really smooth tool to use, where you can set up your automations to award people points or create a leaderboard or whatever you want to do with GamiPress. I'd encourage a lot more people to check out GamiPress in WordPress to gamify the experience.
The leaderboard's cool. If you have a lot of people in your organization, the leaderboard's really cool because it's that friendly competition that gets, a couple of key players really going after it. So that one's cool. And then GamiPress also does that, like, isn't GamiPress the one where you could pick different things the user needs to do to get entered to win a prize or something like that?
Oh, that's RafflePress.
RafflePress, yeah. Well, there we go. I'm sorry, I messed it all up.
It's all good. Yeah, RafflePress is another one where you can give people entries into a raffle based on sharing your post on Twitter or something like that. So if you have a course you've created and you want to promote it with a social strategy, maybe you have an email list or a YouTube channel with like 100, 600 subscribers or whatever, and you want to use that audience to promote your course, you might be able to raffle something off. Like, I wouldn't give away an iPad, but what else could you give away? Like some kind of a drone or free access to your site, whatever it is that your audience really
night
wants.
Out on the town with Magic Will Middleton.
Well, whatever you want to raffle off in WordPress, you could do, like, you got the night out on the town thing, and people would share this. There's multiple ways they could share a raffle press, like share on Twitter, and it gives them a point. It gives them an entry into the raffle. And we've done that at LifterLMS for giveaways before, where we'll share a raffle, or we'll encourage people to share on social media to get more entries into a raffle to win some kind of prize. It's a really great way to have users distribute your content. If you have a big audience but not a lot of profitability, it's a good way to get more profitability out of your audience. Is there a way to assign one lesson from a course to a student? I have a membership on YouTube where a top tier gets one lesson from one of the courses. And so it's like drip content, but not for everybody. Oh, one lesson for a month from one of the courses. Okay. Interesting. Top tier gets one lesson for a month. There's not a way to assign a specific course to a user. I'm thinking through, I have a YouTube video here playing in the background about leaderboards in Lifter, but let me jump back over to my website. LifterLMS, we talked about the access plan system, how you get access to a course or a membership with a payment. And so there's not a way to give them access to just one lesson, because if they were to try to view the lesson and they're not enrolled in the course, it's going to restrict them from viewing it. And so I'm trying to think of the smoothest setup to do that. It might be to just clone the course temporarily. Like if you were to, and you could delete these. So it would be like 1 month of access for Kurt.
He's more clear in his follow-up question. He says the first students weren't on drip, so I have to make a new course for each lesson.
Oh, okay. First students weren't on drip, so I have to make a new course for each lesson.
Yeah, so your idea of cloning makes sense. So he could let the original students go through the course, and then he could clone the course and set the drip settings for follow-up students.
Right. If you put drip settings on a course, students who've already completed those previous lessons won't be subject to them. But that's for like prerequisites, like if you complete the prerequisite order. Yeah, so if you clone the course, I'm a little confused about the setup. So we have a membership where the top tier is going to get one lesson. Oh yeah, I see, one lesson a month from a course. Okay, so they just choose kind of one lesson. If I'm understanding this correctly, and correct me if I'm wrong, Kurt, is you get one lesson per month from one of the courses. Wouldn't that be kind of a similar setup to what we were talking about with the points system? Like you get one lesson, but you get to choose which one it is.
I'm not sure. I think the way the question is written, especially with the follow-ups to it, I think he was concerned that he had students sign up originally and didn't have the content dripped, and then wanted to drip the content. So he's thinking like, how do I assign people afterwards? But even if people are in a course, you can still add drip settings, and anything they've already seen. But then those drip settings would apply to stuff they haven't already partaken in. Yes? Because I've messed with drip settings in the Power Sport Academy where I had so I have this training site called the Power Sport Academy, and technicians and service managers go in there for training. And I thought that I could just put the content in, right? Well, what happened was some people would go in there and just try and blaze through 6 or 8 or 10 lessons in an afternoon. Well, their retention of information or their application of lessons taught doesn't happen, right? Because now they're just trying to get it done. They're not trying to implement things. So what I did was I went in and I started adding the drip settings and spacing the lessons out. And so you can still add the drip settings even if students are in the course.
Interesting. I think like a business owner would understand that getting through the course doesn't mean your business is going to grow. Yeah,
but like when the business owner buys the course and then tells 5 of his employees they have to get it done.
Oh yeah.
They just try and blow through it, right? They're not trying to apply it. They're just trying to check the box. And so I had to slow them down. So I added the drip settings for that purpose.
Right. That's a good use case for it for sure. So Marcus's question, I have a gold member on YouTube, and they go to the website and open their profile, and I assign them a cloned course. And the problem is the first students are not automated. Yeah, I mean the clone course has dripped all the way. Yeah. So if I'm understanding that correctly, I think the first lessons for them, I can't put the first students in the dripped course because I can't open the first lesson for.
I think he's trying to run a cohort.
They would have to start from the beginning again. Right, yeah. If they were to be unenrolled and re-enrolled, they would be subject to the drip settings again. The dripped course, because I can't open the first lessons for them.
Yeah, he says, I can't put the first students in the dripped course because I can't open the first lessons for them, and they would have to start from the beginning again. It almost sounds like he's running a cohort, and it's like on the third week of running a cohort in a 10-week class, he gets new students. And he wants to assign them those first, 2 or 3 weeks lessons, but the rest of the cohort's on week 4.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm picking up. I could be wrong. Okay, I don't know why, but I got things popping up on my screen. Google Drive.
Students in the dripped course because we can't open the first lesson for them.
What in the heck?
Sounds like a very intricate setup.
I think we're both blowing it because now his latest thing says, not really. Nope, that's not what I'm doing at all. Not really.
Yeah.
I will be right back.
Sounds good. I started the course a few months ago, and I manually assigned the students to lesson 1 and 2. What does it mean to manually assign us a lesson 1 and 2? That's kind of what I'm confused about. Like in Lifter, you enroll in the course, you get access to the lessons. There's not really a manual assignment feature. That might be kind of where I'm confused on it. Awesome. Thanks. Yeah, feel free to drop any more questions in the chat. That's what we're here for. Happy to help out. A few months ago, and I manually assigned the students lesson 1 and 2. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I think that's where I'm confused. Is like manually assigning a lesson isn't something that Lifter does. But yeah, feel free to drop some more details there, and that might help us figure it out. I'm creating a live course. Let me remove my screen temporarily. I'm creating a live course that remains accessible after it ends. Is it possible to implement the certificates for the live participants and those accessing the course offline? Implement the distinct certificates for live. Oh yeah. So you'd have a certificate for your live people and a certificate for your not live people. That's absolutely possible in Lifter. What I would recommend doing is accessing the course offline. Yeah, I'd recommend having an online and an offline version of your course, even though they're both kind of online. You would have the course here. We would have the online course.
And the replay course.
Yeah, and the offline course. And both of these would be stored here in your LifterLMS. And so the online course would have all the videos, all the assets, because it's the online version. But then you could also have the offline course be like a single lesson course or something like that. Students log into the website, they click Mark Complete, and then they get access to their certificate. So the offline course, it would be very important to hide the URL to this course. You'd say offline, you'd make it a hidden course, and then you would provide the in-person offline students a link to this course. It could be with a QR code or whatever you want it to do for an in-person thing. They would scan the QR code, sign up, and they'd get their certificate. Or you could even implement a quiz, so they have to take a 5-question quiz or something in person. That's probably the direction I would go in. And then of course the online course is just a regular LifterLMS course. With a certificate. And the reason you have the 2 separate courses is so you can have a certificate designed for the online people and a certificate designed for the offline people, 2 separate courses. So now, let me jump back to that question. Thank you. No problem. So now they're on lesson 5, and there are 7 lessons left. Yeah, so you have like a kind of a 12 lesson course setup, and I had to create a course with only 1 lesson in it. I'm still trying to get a picture. So we started our course a few months ago and manually assigned the students lesson 1 and 2. I'm not sure how you manually assign it other than telling them to do it. But now they're on lesson 5 and there are 7 lessons left. I had to create a course with 1 lesson in it. Yeah, so you can create like 1 lesson courses and just send them off to students. It's definitely possible, but I'm just kind of confused about how the drip settings are tied up or what it means to manually assign something to somebody. I think we're close to figuring it out. I'm just trying to see like in the back end of Lifter, like what is going on. But yeah, there's 7 lessons left to create course. So like if you're, maybe there's like a date-based thing going on. Like with drip settings, you could implement a date. If it's a date problem, that would definitely be a problem. Like if we were to say lesson,
because there's date and then there's duration.
Right. Yeah, there's a couple different methods for drip settings. So understanding which drip settings you have set up would probably help us understand there. So because you can say on a specific date, that's not the one I did. It becomes available on a specific date, or you can say it becomes available a number of days after enrollment. So I was imagining a number of days after enrollment. So it's just going to be an evergreen course. Not to worry, I'm figuring it out. Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah, like I think just some more context as to like what's technically going on might help me kind of understand a little more. Like, we have drip method set up and it's, we're going to do a cohort on a specific date for lesson 2, but now the previous people can't access lesson 2 or something. That would make sense. Yeah. I haven't used this, in years of using LifterLMS and like 7+ years of using LifterLMS, I've never built a website that uses the drip method on a specific date or seen it. I know people are using it, but I've just never been involved with one.
I always do the drip method by duration, number of days after completing the lesson in front of it.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it. Number of days. That's a coupon code there on screen.
Hey, look, a coupon.
LifterLMS Live, 15% off. But
yeah, it's like magic.
If you are doing the prerequisite option, you have to complete lesson 1 before moving to lesson 2. You get a new option for drip settings, which is probably being blocked on my screen right now. Yep. Number of days after prerequisite completion. So this would be, you have to complete lesson 1, then wait 2 days, then you can move on to lesson 2. That's the setup I have displayed on screen right now. Or you could do number of days after course enrollment. So you'd have to wait 2 days to access lesson 2, 3 days to access lesson 3. You could do something like that if you wanted. Or you could say on a specific date, this becomes available. On a specific date, this one becomes available. So there's a few different options for you with.
If you did the drip method so many days after enrollment, you wouldn't have to worry about them going back and seeing lesson 1, 2, or 3 because they'd already be open.
Yeah.
So I think that's part of where our confusion is coming in for you and me, Will, is because like I don't understand how it gets to like week 3 and someone can't get to week 2, but it depends on how they set up the prerequisites or set up the drip.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like if you had a prerequisite that said, you had to do lesson 2 before you went to lesson 3, and then you sign up on week 3 and you go to join the group on week 3, but you didn't do the prerequisite, you can't get in.
I see. And so like if you don't have access to the prerequisite lesson to complete it, you might have no way to get to lesson 3. Like that's kind of the idea that you'd have to start on week 1 with drip settings. You kind of have to start on week 1, then do week 2, then week 3. Like you have to go through an order with the prerequisites and all that.
Thays has a good question. Can we skip the quiz for a specific user? And this will probably be how we end today with just 4 minutes left.
Yeah, that's a good question. Can we skip a quiz for a specific user? There in LifterLMS, like some background on that, you can manually mark a lesson as complete for a user, but not if it has a quiz on it. So as a WordPress admin, I can come into the website, I can look at my courses, look at the business budgeting course, find a student within that course, and let's see somebody who hasn't completed much. this person. If I want to go ahead and complete this, I can just start completing lessons for them. Just click these boxes, and it's gonna mark as completed for them. But you can see that the quizzes or the lessons that have a quiz or an assignment present, I don't have that option to mark it as complete because there's some sort of grade associated with the quiz or assignment. So there's not a way to just mark it as complete and select a grade for them. They'd actually have to go in and take the quiz or take the assignment. And what I do is the user switching plugin. So if this person needed to, complete the quiz, but I wanted to just make sure they didn't have to do it, I would actually use the user switching plugin. It's a free plugin for WordPress that works very nicely with LifterLMS. And I do have it installed here. And so what I can do is go to my users list. I can look up that user's email, and then I can switch to this user. And now I'm looking at the website. They completed some lessons. Those are the ones I completed for them. But I can go to the dashboard as this person logged into the website, and they have a subscription upcoming. All right. I can go into the business budgeting course for them, and then I can go into the lesson with quiz. I have to enroll in the course. There's some kind of enrollment issue here, but I can go into the course as the user and do the quiz. On the WordPress website admin, I can have a new tab open where I'm going back and forth and cheating and copying the answers, but I could complete the quiz for the user and then send them an email that says, hey, the quiz is completed, you can move forward. So that's what I've done in the past with need for marking a quiz complete for a user. I don't know, Kurt, do you have any other ideas outside of that? That's kind of my go-to.
I usually just go, well, that is unfortunate, sir. You have failed.
Yeah, that's kind of my main workaround. And Marcus, thank you so much, guys, for the help. Absolutely, Marcus. Sorry we weren't able to offer any more specific advice, but feel free to shoot us an email, help@lifterlms.com.
Yeah, great idea. Great idea. Follow up on that and give us some detail via email and some screenshots if we need them.
Yeah, it's a great way. And I think, Marcus, you're an existing customer, so you have access to our support ticketing system where you can send like temporary admin logins and send our support team and say, hey, look at this page, this is broken. And then by logging in and looking at it, they'll be able to see really quickly maybe what's going on there. That's usually my advice. That's unfortunate you failed, sir.
That is unfortunate, sir. You have failed.
Well, awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining on this live stream. We'll be signing off for today, but we'll be live again next week. Let us know any comments or questions you have in the description of the video here, and we'll see them when we go live next week. Thank you so much.
And if you're Universe Bundle or Infinity Bundle, we'll see you in an hour.
Oh yeah, Universe
Mastermind
Bundle.
Office Hours coming up soon.
It's coming up. Live on Zoom.
Let's get back to
1 hour from now.